have finally gotten there. It is Robotaxi launch day. And in fact, there are people now riding around in Robotaxis in Austin. A lot of your favorite folks are down there right now. I'm not making the trip for reasons that, maybe smart, maybe not. Anyway, but there are people down there having a big party and enjoying the very first Robotaxi rides. They're invitation only at this point, although my understanding is that now you can actually sign up on the Robotaxi page online. You can sign up for a ride for invitation only rides when Robotaxi comes to your area. So you can get all signed up now, and then you'll get notified when it's going to come to your neighborhood, and you can get one of the first rides in your neighborhood. Now, maybe you're in Poughkeepsie and it'll be a long time. Maybe you're in Los Angeles or San Francisco, which means it might be a lot sooner. But anyway, that's some of the information that we've derived from today. I've been following a lot of the videos, been checking out a lot of the videos today so that you don't have to. Of course, you may choose to, and you're probably going to learn a lot more than the little bit that I'm going to be able to share with you in this particular video. But what we do know, they started at noon Central today. They've already posted, last time I checked, around 110 rides. They've got, I think, maybe 10 cabs or taxis running around right now. So if they do 11 an hour, I'm sorry, if they do, if each, well, that would seem like a lot, right? 110 rides already in just a couple of hours. All right. Anyway, no real surprises. Nothing I've seen so far. No real surprises on the way the vehicles work or how the apps work. The rear screen, he may not have thought about it back in, a year ago when they started putting the rear screens in the Model Ys and now the Model 3s and now the Model Ys. It may not have occurred to you, but these are a real benefit to the Robotaxis. So if you do have people riding in the back, this is a real help in the Robotaxi environment. And of course, right now, everybody's riding in the back because there is a safety rider in the front who basically does nothing. And they double checked and triple checked, and that's what his job was to do, is just to sit there and do nothing. I assume, if the vehicle gets in trouble, that's kind of where he would be mostly needed to maybe make decisions about people getting out or not. Anyway, that's just one extra layer of safety during this rollout. One of the big questions that people had was in terms of what is the size of the geofenced area. It is about the same amount of the south part of Austin, almost identical to the south part of Austin where Waymo is currently operating. The north part, which is, I guess, across the river. I've been to Austin once. I have no idea. Anyway, across the river, the northern part of Austin is not yet available. I'm assuming that'll open up, maybe next week or the following week when they start getting to random rides as opposed to these fun rides. I mean, nobody's taking the cab right now to get someplace. They're just taking the ride to have some fun. All right, there was one Easter egg already. So when you get done with your ride, just like you would with a Waymo or with an Uber, there is an opportunity to rate the ride. Of course, now you're not rating the driver, you're just rating the ride. So you have a place to put 1 to 5 stars, and then if you want to, you can make some commentary. And then after you finish with your commentary, then a thing pops up and it says, how much would you like to tip? And so you put your tip amount in, and when you put your tip amount in and submit, what you get is just kidding. So a nice reminder that don't have to tip in this world. So that's a big advantage over some of the others. Anyway, let's see. The cost of the rides for today, kind of a funny Easter egg. The cost of the rides today are not by the mile or any other method of figuring them out. All the rides are exactly the same price, and that is $4.20. Shocking that they would have that number. Anyway, as I've been trying to, and so again, I think those are the most important things. People were asking all kinds of crazy questions like, will the phone work on the screen? Well, not apparently on the rear screen, but maybe on the front screen. It looks like it would transfer to the front screen. Yes, all of your information is downloaded into the system. So it's your stuff that's on the screens, all your apps, everything else, everything is there. But we kind of understood that. So I think those were the only surprises. And as far as I can tell right now, everything's going swell, nothing, no problems, no issues. So let's go ahead and since it's Robotaxi rollout day, let's take a look at, what might be coming up. So I've got about three different things I want to talk to you about. So first of all, we've got so Elon Musk, he expects that there will be 10 to 20 vehicles during the first week. Then more than that, maybe 30 or 40 or 50 the second or third week. And so, it'll just keep increasing. He says he expects, according to a video where he literally says this, that in about 3 months, they hope to have about 1,000 taxis out there. Now, that would be just in the range of the same number as Waymo has. So it wouldn't take very many to pass Waymo for sure. Now, Waymo may be increasing their numbers too. But, he has also said that they'll go to so that's by the end of 3 months. But then in his comments, he says, and then we'll go on to more cities. He mentioned San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego as three possibilities. Did not mention other cities in Texas, although that would seem to make a lot of sense, and didn't mention other cities that Waymo is already in, like Phoenix or Atlanta, some of the other places that Waymo has already done some work. Now, I've said for a long time, I think that's where they would be inclined to go, because the population there will be used to the driverless vehicles. All right, so I thought I'd come up with a list of possible issues, negative issues that could happen. And these things could negatively impact the stock or negatively impact the rollout. So one of those would be a delay of the start. Well, we've already got that. The start happened. Okay. It is not being delayed. Now, it could be the second thing would be, well, it might have an incident of any kind. Cars are stuck somewhere, failure to navigate to a destination, not showing up when it's supposed to show up, a minor traffic error, something like that. There could be minor incidents. If there was many of those, they might decide to stop it for a minute. They could decide to stop it for a minute because they have something wrong with the app. Who knows? But there's all kinds of reasons that if there were enough problems, they might say, you know what, let's stop it for a day or two or a week, and reboot and start up again. That would be a pretty big negative. Number three would be a more major incident, major traffic error that caused other traffic, let's say, to stop, getting into an intersection after it's turned red, and other traffic not being able to navigate because of it, some kind of a problem with a police officer managing an intersection, something with an emergency vehicle, an actual accident, even if it was a minor, anything like that could obviously going to create some bad press and give an opportunity for the folks that don't like Tesla anyway to get a headline. So those are all possibilities out there that could happen. Obviously, we could have protests or disruptions by anti-Musk Tesla people. Some of the fools out there that don't like the company or don't like him. There's already been one protest, and this was a banner, a sky banner, private plane pulling a banner in the skies over Austin today saying, "Save Tesla / fire Elon." So there you go. That's the first protest. There's also the possibility that the leashes would last too long. So let's say that they only had 10 cars in the third week or the fourth week, or that they didn't expand the territory. They just, for whatever reason, it didn't seem like progress was being made. I think that would hurt that would cause headlines. What about once they start allowing other people to ride? What if there's not enough interest? What if they can't fill the seats, so to speak? They have Teslas sitting idle because there's nobody to ride them. I don't think that's going to be a problem. I've mentioned before that at least in Austin, you've got this huge population of people that work for Tesla, work for companies that work for Tesla, and you're going to have more people like the fanboys and girls that are down there right now that are going to be coming to Austin because they're going to want to ride the vehicle. And I think there will be people that want to ride it, not just when they have a safety guy in the front. I think there's going to be people that might come back or stay until the rides are not invitation only, so they can get the real ride. That would not shock me at all. What about complaints or negative reviews? So what about the customer service side of it? So, I've talked for months and months and months now about the most important thing is going to be the customer experience. You've got the experience of where you order, you got the app experience, ordering the ride, how long is it going to take? How long does it really get there when it says it's going to get there? Now you have the next phase of the experience, which is getting into the vehicle and getting adjusted, making sure your stuff's on the screen, etc. And then, of course, the ride. How smooth is the ride? How comfortable people feel in the ride? Are you able to get your stuff? Are you able to get your own music and whatnot on the screens? Are there any bumps along the way that create an opportunity to give a bad review in some form or format, like here on YouTube or on X? And so that could be a problem. Then we have FUD. These would be people that lie about it. That we've already got some of that taking place. We've already got people today with headlines that say that after the delayed startup of the Tesla Robotaxi service. That's the headline, after the delayed startup. Well, it wasn't ever delayed because nobody ever said it was going to be on the 1st or the 12th or the 10th or any of those other days. The only official word from Tesla was June, and then June 22nd. So it started on time, but you've got the FUD. Okay, so there's all kinds of opportunities for FUD over the next few weeks. I'm going to guess that somebody will do a headline about that banner that I mentioned just a minute ago. Then we've got the press just making up stuff. They'll do that just to get clicks. We could have vandalism or organized protests. That would not be a shock at all. And then, as mentioned before, I think any pullback in service. So anywhere along the line, first day, first week, first month, even 2-3 months in, you could have a situation where all of a sudden a territory, let's say the city of Austin or the state of Texas or California, somebody official or federal officials or for any reason, Tesla just says, okay, we have to suspend service for a week or whatever. This would not be good for the stock. Well, then there's the other side of things. What could happen that could go right? The best thing that can happen to Tesla is that the ramp just continues, that each week there's no problems, that the ramp continues, that it goes along about as Elon has said. That's really what we want to see take place. Now, there's big things that could happen. We could have the federal government say, we're taking over and here are the rules and you pass. We could have other countries say, you pass. You're now legal in these countries, either for FSD or for full-on robotaxi. So there's a lot of those kind of things that could happen. But in terms of the actual rollout and ramping, just no major problems would be the thing we're looking for. Okay, now I did this analysis a little while ago. I'm just going to go over it again. Why is this historic? All right, well, because it's the largest TAM in the history of the world. This is $1 trillion. What's the largest company? What's the largest retailer in the world right now? The largest number of dollars that any company makes? Well, that is Amazon at about 670 billion. Very, very close to Walmart. Those two are right in the same territory. They're both in the $600 billion range. I think actually it may be Walmart that's 670. Anyway, whichever one it is, the other one's close by. And this is $1 trillion business at least. Maybe multiple trillions. So there's never been anything this big before. What about the profits? Well, I'm not sure whether Apple is still number one or where Microsoft are. I don't think NVIDIA's caught Apple yet, but those are both, I think Apple's in the $120 billion range. The profit on this is likely to be in the $1 trillion range. So it's not even close. Some of the things it's going to help, people like old folks, people under 16, blind and disabled people that have a DUI or have other reasons why they can't drive their own car. For any reason, people that can't drive their own car, people that can't afford to own their own car, but that are hamstrung by buses that take you 2 hours to go 3 miles. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's going to happen. It's going to provide people with huge amounts of opportunity. Then there's also should be lower amounts of DUIs if it's easier and cheaper and more convenient to get home because of a robotaxi as opposed to regular taxi. When you're not when you're inebriated or under the influence, it's going to be a benefit to society. You're going to get your time back. You and everybody else, anytime society gets their time back, that is a big plus. We're going to get land back. We've talked a lot about that. I'm not going to go into details again, but 40% of the land mass of the Los Angeles County is in parking. 40% of the developed land in Los Angeles is apparently 40% is parking. That seems wrong, but that's what people say. What if it's only 20%? Still massive. Then we have the reduction of the use of fossil fuels and energy use, because of course these will all be electric and they're going to be used more hours per day. So there's going to be a huge benefit there. Cleaner air, obviously being electric again, lower cost per person and per household. So that's the wealth impact. So right now, the average person, the average family is spending $1,100 a month on vehicle transportation. Well, what if this can get it down to 800? I mean, that would be $300 a month savings. Be like the price of oil going from 3 to 2. What about there's other wealth impacts too, like providing, your garage all of a sudden becomes an available room. Okay, and then we got big negative potential impact is the drivers as a career. I've talked a lot about this on other programs. I think that the driving as a career situation will take a decade or more to have serious impact, a decade or more before it has a serious impact. Space in the home. I just said that. Okay. Phil Beisel, then, he said, let me tackle this from another direction. He says there's 11 myths about robotaxi that need to be dispelled. These are myths based on misinformation, ignorance, or both. He says, number one, geofencing robotaxi in Austin shows it's no different than Waymo and cannot scale. Tesla's robotaxi will initially operate within a geo-fenced area in Austin. We just talked about that. Early access invites suggested limitations, such as no parking airport pickups. And then, the airport pickups are difficult and sometimes regulated. While Tesla is geofenced for safety and logistics reasons, it's worth noting that FSD is fundamentally an operate anywhere system. Like a human driver dropped in an unfamiliar city, it can navigate based on the perception of the road, not on pre-mapping. So that's a big contrast with Waymo. As confidence in robotaxi grows, Tesla will likely expand the operational area. We know that's their intention. And the geofence is a launch phase constraint, not a core limitation. Number two, that hardware 4 cannot be used for robotaxi. Well, current production Teslas are equipped with hardware 4. And Elon has just said that the hardware 4 vehicles that are driving out of the factory on their own every single day are the very same cars that will be used for robotaxis. Recently, news broke that Tesla hasn't entered production on the hardware 5, but that's just the beginning of production. So we're a long way from that. Okay, number 3, robotaxi safety passenger means they're not ready yet, because they got to have this safety passenger. This safety passenger does nothing. We talked about that a minute ago. Their role is not they're not even sitting by the steering wheel or by the brakes. They have no separate brake. They have nothing else to do. They're just there as an observer. That's all they're doing right now. My guess would be that person comes out very, very soon. So he suggests that the safety passenger monitors vehicular behavior, quickly identifies any issues, provides immediate feedback to headquarters if there's something that they need to point out. Maybe the vehicle rolls to a stop sign. This trained observer could just, let them know immediately. There's also sort of another purpose, deterring bad actors. I don't know how many bad actors they're going to have during this first week when it's invitation only. But anyway, these are things that maybe this person is going to be there for. Number 4, no recent major FSD release. We haven't had a new release in a long time, so they must not be ready. Well, version 13 is really, really solid. I'm still on version 12 because I got hardware 3. It works great. And everybody that has the 13.2.9 says it works great. And this one is going to be what they're doing now, whatever it is. We are confident. Everybody's confident that it's better. Tesla has likely been focused on training and validation of this next major version so that they can roll out the Robotaxi. Tesla doesn't need to release version 14 to the general public yet. Their intention is likely an operational readiness, safety validation, and infrastructure to get Robotaxi launched. If anything, a quieter public release cycle often signals a ramp up beyond the scenes work. There's a behind the scenes work going on that's been ramping, and that's what he thinks is going on. Number 5, they will never be safer than human drivers. So guess what? They're going to be safer than human drivers. They're already safer than human drivers, and they're going to be a lot safer than human drivers. Number 6, autonomous tech is decades away. You've heard this for years, but guess what? It's not. It's now. It's here. Waymo's already been out there. Got about 1,000 or 1,200, 1,400, 1,500 vehicles. They've been riding autonomously for months now or years. He says, personally, I've logged about 2,000 miles with FSD. I personally, and I hardly drive at all. I have also done probably close to 2,000 miles. Gone down to San Diego 3 times, back and forth to LA, West LA 4 or 5 times, plus multiple trips in between. Yeah, I'm probably closing in on 2,000 miles. The reality is most people still aren't paying attention to how quickly this technology is advancing. In fact, on my way home from West LA yesterday, I tried to count the number of people in Teslas, because there's a lot of them, you can imagine. I tried to, as many as I could, I tried to see if they were on FSD or not. I think that under 20% of the people that are in Teslas right now are using FSD. I'm just gauged by whether their hands were on the wheel or not. And I think it was like only out of 10 or 11, 12, I think only 2 did not have their hands anywhere near the steering wheel. Well, people say it's still decades away, but then what's going to happen in the next week or 2 or 3 when every day they're doing lots and lots of rides, and then a month from now they're adding. So this piece of FUD's going away. Robotaxis, number 7, Robotaxi will clog city streets with ever more cars. Well, as Robotaxis scale, we'll see more and more of them, but that doesn't mean they're additive to the overall traffic problem. It could be additive or it could be we don't know yet. One of the things that's going to happen is there might be more like teenagers, people that are underage, that'll use these instead of their bikes or buses or whatever. There'll be people, all kinds of folks that are using buses and other methods of transportation that might switch. And so that could make for more vehicles on the road. So yes, there are possibilities that there will be more vehicles on the road. Number 8, they will never navigate complex cities like Rome or Mumbai. Well, this myth is usually rooted in 2 flawed assumptions: that humans are inherently better drivers than machines, and that Waymo's ultra-cautious driving style represents the best autonomy can offer. Waymo vehicles often hesitate or freeze when navigating dense pedestrian environments, common in cities like Rome or Mumbai. Where not only Rome and Mumbai, man, I'm going to tell you, Taipei, Taiwan, New York City. I can give you a whole long list of places I've been. Madrid. Tesla FSD, by contrast, has demonstrated more natural, assertive behavior, and we've seen it in very, very congested pedestrian areas doing extremely well. Recent video, he says that recent videos in Berlin and Rome make it increasingly clear this myth will not hold up long. He says, number 9, robotaxis will never gain significant market share. The field is crowded. We'll talk about that more in a minute. And then number 10, robotaxis will not operate in inclement weather. Quite frankly, I'm going to answer this for him. It will operate at least as well as a human. You've been in inclement weather. I've been in ground fog. I've been in dense fog that you could not see anything, zip zero. I had to open the door to see the curb so I could pull over. I've been in gully washers in Texas and in Florida that you couldn't see anything and you had to pull over. I've been in a sandstorm that I couldn't see anything and had to pull over. I've been in snow, very, very heavy snowstorms, snow on the ground. I've been in Virginia when no taxi cab would come get us because of the snow. So no, this is no different. The inclement weather thing is a nonsense deal. It's going to operate better than a human in inclement weather. He says, let's be clear, humans drive in poor weather conditions every day. Tesla's FSD has key advantages over human drivers: more sensors, perfect attention, faster reaction times, and access to aggregated training for millions of driving scenarios. For instance, let's say your car is spinning out. Are you an expert at a car spinning out in ice or snow? The car will be. It'll know exactly what to do. That's just one example. He says his fourth paper goes deeper in this, particularly how FSD's mixture of experts architecture enables specialized performance under varying conditions. In short, well, weather's a factor. It's not a showstopper. It'll be a showstopper in weather that's more inclement. Let's just put it this way. If a human can drive, it can drive. And sometimes if a human shouldn't drive, it can still drive. And then sometimes nobody should drive. And I've seen those weather conditions. I bet you have too. Number 11, after the first accident is over. He says accidents will happen. That's inevitable. And in many cases, the robotaxi won't be at fault. It's simply be involved due to factors outside of its control. But it could actually create an accident too. Their performance, however, will likely surpass human-driven rideshare. That's what we've been saying all along. Teslas will have to navigate public and regulatory reactions, but the company clearly takes safety very seriously, both ethically and economically. All right, then we have this from Gary Black. This is the final part of this story today. We've still got two more entire videos coming today. The Tesla, my voice is going, will I make it? The Tesla debate is not about Tesla Robotaxi versus Waymo or Zoox, or whether Tesla Robotaxi will work. Of course it's going to work, or Elon wouldn't be moving it forward with the debut in Austin today. I've been saying that for how long? Gary didn't say that 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. He's been listening to my show. The question, which bulls painfully avoid, is whether others master general unsupervised autonomy, as he has long said, and then it'll be table stakes for all other automobile manufacturers. And what will the valuation that will attach to Tesla autonomy when it has to split the autonomous ride-hailing market with others? He says they're not going away. Very few bulls put much attention, much thought into the valuation question. Well, Gary, I've had you on my show. We've had this conversation. I watched you on the Bulls have this conversation. I watched you debate directly for about 20 minutes with Larry Goldberg about this very question. So no, we all talk about this. We talk about it in detail. And apparently you don't want to listen to what we have to say about this. You don't want to listen to what Elon Musk has to say about this because it doesn't fit your narrative. But if you have a Tesla vehicle that costs, let's say, $30,000 and eventually $15,000, and you put that vehicle at $30,000 cost or $15,000 cost up against any other vehicle that costs $65,000 or maybe $100,000, according to some people right now, the Waymo vehicles are still costing $160,000, $170,000. I don't think that's true, but let's just say it's double. Let's say it's double or triple what it cost, which is what the analysis was that I did just last week, Gary. That raises the cost per mile by at least 10 cents a mile. So if Tesla's final, when everything's done and it's fully ramped, is 20 cents a mile, Waymo might be able to get in there at 30 cents a mile. And that doesn't take into consideration that because of Tesla's infrastructure with charging stations and with their ability to do solar and battery, they might be able to get the cost of energy down to 0 per mile. Tonight on the next show, the next show, I'm going to be talking about Tesla insurance. And it may be that Tesla insurance will be another big advantage compared to what Google's going to be able to do in terms of insuring themselves. If that's a penny a mile advantage, it's a penny a mile advantage on something that only 20 cents might have a penny a mile advantage on energy, a penny a mile advantage on infrastructure, a penny a mile advantage in terms of some of the sunk cost overhead. Don't know, maybe not. But even at 11 cents, 10 cents, 11 cents, difference on a 20 cent per mile figure, even if, let's say it's 30 cents for Tesla and 41 cents for Waymo, it's a big, big disadvantage. And then, as I've mentioned to you on many occasions, Gary, and that Larry didn't mention as much, you've got the scaling issue, and everybody's talking about that now. It's been mentioned many, many times. You don't seem to care anything at all about the scaling issue, but the reality is that Waymo cannot, under any circumstances, scale as fast as Tesla. It won't even be in the same ballpark because we've got the Airbnb version. And in addition to the fact that if Tesla decided to tomorrow and they thought it was wise, they could switch all of their manufacturing over to robotaxis not sell any to anybody anymore and do 3 million cars a year right now, and probably 4 million by next year and 5 million by the next year. That's just, you have to acknowledge that they could do this if the regulatory environment was there, and if they believed that the TAM was ready to accept all cars 100% being switched over to robotaxis. They could do that tomorrow, and it would be the smart thing to do. But Waymo can't do that. Waymo has no way to get 500,000 or 1 million or even 200,000 cars per year to add to their fleet. So the scaling issue is massive. The cost differential is massive. And then there's the customer experience aspect. And then there is the Tesla ecosystem of millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people who are going to go to Tesla 100% before they're going to go to Waymo when they're looking for a taxi ride, because they own a Tesla, they own Tesla stock, they're a fan of Elon Musk, they like the company, they like the products, they know that the customer experience is better, they've got the app, all of those reasons. It's a no-brainer, Gary. And no, does that sound like we haven't been considering the difference between Tesla and its ability? No. Could Waymo hang around for a couple of years? But Google is not going to be interested in it in small numbers. They're just not. Could Uber hang around for a quick minute? Not at all. Not unless they are able to go 100% autonomous, because if they got a driver in the car, it's over for them. So maybe they go autonomous. How? What are they going to use? What's their method going to be? Have we taken into consideration that Waymo is probably going to lose a big percentage of their drivers overnight, sometime one day next year, when Tesla turns on Airbnb nationwide, and all of a sudden all those people that are driving Teslas are going to be, I'm not going to do Uber rides anymore. I'm going to go home. I'm going to let my car do the driving. I'm going to go home and put my feet up. Anyway, that's all I got for you right now. Oh, no, that's not all I got for you right now. Please hang in there for a minute. Last night, if you did not watch the video with Gary White, who? If you didn't watch the show last night with Brian Wong, you've got to go watch it. It's just incredible. We're talking about the singularity. We're talking about, super intelligence, but we're talking about it in terms of Tesla. And it's very, very important. If you didn't watch it, I'm putting the card up right there. In addition, if you didn't watch my show this morning about Iran, I went places that nobody else is going. I watched 5, 6, 7 hours last night of people talking about Iran and about what's going on, all kinds of aspects of what's going on over there. And then I did my own show, and Grok helped me. And I'm talking about stuff that nobody else is. And I got very, very nice comments. Thank you very much for the lovely comments. Even got a couple of people putting up a little money into the till. Maybe you could do that right now if you're thinking about it, to thank me for all my hard work. All right, so I'll put both of those cards up. You should go back and look at those. You got 2 more programs coming up tonight. And the first one is going to be the regular Monday morning show that'll be about 5:15-ish. And I promise you, it's going to be a phenomenal show. We're going to be talking about all the normal stuff and a little bit more. And then the show later tonight at 7:45, my normal late show, that show is going to be a surprise that will blow your mind and make you even more excited about being a Tesla stockholder. I promise you, you have no idea what that show's about, and you have no idea how excited you're going to be after you watch it. It's a thriller. So be sure to come back and see that one as well. All right, that's all I've got for you at this immediate moment. It's been great talking to you.